Howdy, it's me. It's been a while since my last video, so I thought I'd give you a quick update on everything that I've been working on, my current financial and investments strategy. I've been a little quiet because I've actually been working on a product at the moment, which I will hopefully be releasing to the world pretty soon. I'm currently using it, and I think it's pretty revolutionary. Once I show it to the world, you guys give me your thoughts and tell me how I can improve it. Is it useful? Is it not useful? You guys give me your thoughts when it's ready. But also, before I should go into my investment strategy and where I am currently sitting at the moment, no, I'm not broke at all. Actually, far from it. But we'll get to that in a second. I just want to quickly show you this. I was walking through this forest, and I thought I have to show you guys. This, you see them in pictures. It's the first time I'm actually seeing it in real life, and it is absolutely incredible. Check this thing out. Absolutely amazing. Check that out. That is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, I'm not going to touch it. Obviously, I don't know my mushrooms, so I don't know if it's poisonous or not. But I mean, isn't that just absolutely beautiful? Let's see if we can get a nice good close shot. And there's like a whole bunch of them that that pops up. Obviously, they have this transformation where they start off like this and then they eventually open up, which is just absolutely, yeah. They just, mushrooms are actually like one of my favorite. I don't know, what do you call them? It's not exactly an animal, but it's part of the living world. So yeah, just absolutely incredible. But anyway, so besides that, let's go into where I'm actually sitting financially and what my current financial strategy is at the moment. It's my investment strategy. So I'm definitely not broke at all. Having joined or entered this journey in 2015 has been absolutely the best thing I could ever have done. It has put me in a position that I haven't had to work for the last 2 years. I've been able to work on my own projects. I have I taken a knock? Absolutely. Investments, you have to plan for the pullbacks. You can't always be going up in a straight line. I mean, the typical investment strategy is to buy low and sell high, but you can never plan that. It's better to be time in the market is better than timing the market. So of course I've actually had a bit of a pullback. It's obviously not, when you see your net worth balance start decreasing, it's obviously not joyous. But that's why another reason why I say that you have to have, it's not just about where to put your money, but it's also how to have control in your money, and also how to get through these hard moments when things are actually down. So you have to plan for them. You have to have money aside so that you can actually continue living, which is what I've done. So I'm actually not worried at all. If this continues for another 2 years, which it very well could, yeah, then maybe I might have to start stressing a little. Can I allow for the markets to drop further? Yeah, I absolutely can. I've calculated before it really starts surging, I have to allow for the markets. Besides the fact that the markets have already had such a massive knock, I'd have to wait for the markets to have another 50% drop from here before it really starts surging. 50-55%. That's really where my pain point starts happening, which absolutely could happen. So I have to continue. So now I'm in a new position where I have to start thinking about creating a new scenario to account for those scenarios, because you always have to be one step ahead. The idea of just putting your money away and leaving it up to a financial advisor, or just not wondering about the current financial situation, is probably the worst thing that you can do. So you always constantly have to be moving. And this is one of the issues about the current traditional financial system, is that there's no sitting to rest. You as I said, you actually need two jobs. You need your job that actually brings in an income, and then you need your other job, which is to manage your money, which is pretty insane. And that's why I vote for an alternative system, which I've mentioned in previous videos, where it will alleviate the pressure of that second job. You wouldn't have to be constantly watching and monitoring the financial situation. But anyway, so what I'm currently doing is I am re-strategizing to make sure that I am actually okay for the next years, because I do believe that we will continue seeing a downturn for the next 1.5 to 2 years. It's very possible. In fact, I think it's very likely. The fact that we got presidents saying that we're not in a recession is just absolutely madness to me. It's madness to me that we had economists saying no, we're not going to have rampant inflation, and here we are. So like, are they lying to us, or am I smarter than them? I doubt that I'm smarter than them, so I can't help but feel that we know that they're lying to us. So, and also in terms of inflation, the Federal Reserve Bank at the moment is currently doing whatever it possibly can to bring down inflation. It hasn't been successful yet, and I don't believe that it will be. Now, what I think that they can do, maybe they can actually slow down the rate of inflation, but when you think about all the amounts of dollars that were actually printed into existence in the last 2-3 years, is 50% of all the dollars that were in existence before that. Now that money has to go somewhere. So it usually follows with three types of inflation. First, it's the monetary inflation, which is what we experience, so the printing of the money. Then it is the asset inflation. So the stocks went absolutely crazy. Property prices went absolutely crazy. The cryptocurrency markets went absolutely insane. So that's the asset inflation. And then finally, we have the regular prices, the everyday prices of your food and goods and anything, your perishable items, your short-term assets. In fact, they're not even assets. Your perishable items are the last one to actually experience all the inflation. So first, the money supply goes up. Then money has to go somewhere. It goes into assets, and then they sell them off, and that money goes into the market. And so that's what we're experiencing right now. So I believe that inflation won't come down until all that money, that 50% of new created money has been absorbed by the market. That's when we'll see inflation stabilize again. We're not going to see it happen before that. So yes, maybe they can actually slow it down. Maybe instead of 12%, they can keep it at 7%. So it's I don't know the exact maths, because also it's very difficult to calculate, because we know that they don't exactly have the very fair calculations in terms of working out CPI. But basically, you either have, as an example, you'll either have 12% inflation for 1 year versus 7% inflation for 2 years, as an example. So all that they can do is actually slow down the rate of this rampant inflation, rather than actually stifle it and actually bring it back down. That money has to go somewhere, and hence we have this inflation. It was obvious. It's not rocket science. I'm so tempted, if I wasn't so busy with all the other projects that I'm working on, so tempted to build a simulation that shows this in action. You print money, that money has to go somewhere. Create a little economy. Do the numbers yourself. Imagine a scenario. Draw pictures of 10 people on a page. Say one person has access to the printer, and the other few people, there's a few rich people, there's a few poor people. Create some items, some stocks. Create some houses. Draw some apples for perishable items, and then just think about where the money's going to go. How does it happen? And this is exactly how it plays out. Like, this is not rocket science. I'm so tempted to build this simulation. Stay tuned. I might actually do that one day. But anyway, project number 12, 13, somewhere around there. But so that's just currently just monitoring the system, blaming Russia. Now, I'm not vouching for what Russia's doing. From that political standpoint, I don't want to be for or against. I do have a personal opinion, but I don't want to express it online. But to say that is what's causing the inflation is just, it's madness. It's just absolute madness to me that they can actually blame an event like that. Now, has it contributed? Yes, I'm sure it has. It definitely has. But to point all fingers and say, oh, that's the reason, not the fact that you locked down businesses for a year and a half, not the fact that you printed half of all the 50% of all the money that's in existence. It's how do you say this to the public and not bat an eye that people know that you're lying? Anyway, that's for another topic. Anyway, so what am I currently doing? So because I believe that the stock market could experience some pain for another year, 1.5 years, 2 years, who knows how long this can go on for. I've actually been circling out of the stock market since around March. So I am somewhat lucky. I did actually start experiencing a bit of pain, but again, after doing some calculations, I realized that we really do need to reduce our stock portfolio. So I have actually been circling out of stocks. I've been actually using the profits to continue my, surviving on my on the profits from the stock, so that I can actually continue working on my projects. So I'm for people to say, oh, you made a mistake with your finances. No, I didn't. I didn't at all, because the position that I'm in now, I would never be in a position that I can actually support myself for 2 years comfortably if it wasn't for my financial education, if it wasn't for my financial strategy. As I said, yes, I have actually taken a bit of a knockback, but that's expected, and you have to be planned for it. You have to be prepared for it. So, circling out of stocks, I haven't sold a single one of my Bitcoin. In fact, I have actually been accumulating more. I've been circling out of my other cryptocurrencies to go into Bitcoin. So I've actually been circling out of stocks, out of other alternate cryptocurrencies to go into Bitcoin. And so I've actually been accumulating the most amounts of Bitcoin. Now, yes, can Bitcoin go down even further? Yes, it absolutely can. But this is where, in a previous video, I had spoken about Bitcoin as an insurance, as a level of protection against the financial system. There are so many cracks. We have just had a new prime minister leave 10 Downing Street. It's what is going on in the world is insane. The Bank of England is showing massive cracks. We've got Japan that is just doing its thing and forever in a vicious circle. We've got America with its problems. So the cracks are like clear. There's no doubt in my mind that the cracks are showing, and they're only going to get worse. And as this happens, people are going to look for alternatives, and this is where I think that Bitcoin is going to shine. It's not there yet. It's not there at all. Could it drop another 50%? Yes, it absolutely can. Am I prepared for it? Yes, I absolutely am. When you think about a stable, again, not the price. Don't look at the price of Bitcoin. I'm talking about the stability of the financial network, of the financial system, of the policy. You cannot get something more stable than Bitcoin. It's impossible. So I am putting most of my cash, I'm probably about like 60% of my net worth in Bitcoin at the moment, because I believe of that safety. If you own, I'm not going to tell you how much I own, but if you own one Bitcoin, there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. So your portion of the Bitcoin pie will be 1 divided by 21 million forever. For as long as you hold those keys, and as long as you protect those keys, you will always hold a portion of 1 divided by 21 million. In the current financial system, you can never say that that's true. If you hold $100 or $1, what is it divided by? They're increasing the supply, they're decreasing the supply, they're mostly increasing it. So it's always going to continue being devalued against the entire financial system. So why would you opt in for that? 1 divided by 21 million. That is what it will be forever. And again, you don't have to own a whole Bitcoin. You can own a fraction. You can put in just $10, put in $100, whatever it is, whatever you can spare. That is what. I mean, again, I'm no financial advice, so do your own research. Put in what you can. But it shocks me to think that people haven't woken up to the idea that, oh, these guys are either lying or don't know what they're talking about, are failing miserably. We have a Federal Reserve Bank to stabilize the markets, to stabilize the economy, and yet they're failing miserably, and we still trust them. We still believe that they have us in their best interest. When are people going to start waking up and realizing that they care about no one else but themselves? No one else. So I don't know how else to explain this to you. We are seeing cracks around the world. There's a saying. It's slowly, then suddenly. And that's exactly how I think that this is going to end. Could it happen next year? Who knows? Could it be 6 months? Who knows? Could it be in 60 years? Again, who knows? This I don't want to call it a scam, but to be honest, that's exactly what it is. Has been going on since 1971 and even actually before that. So it's lasted 50 years. Can it go on another 50 years? Yeah, absolutely. It possibly can. But you will continue experiencing devaluation. You will continue experiencing the tightness of the squeeze of what it is that they're doing to you. You don't even realize that they're doing it. So I'm choosing to opt out. I have as little cash as I possibly can. Now, I know that everyone is saying dollar at the moment is increasing, and there is an argument to say that you should be going into dollars, but why take that risk? If you can almost imagine elevators, right? And each asset is on an elevator. Some are going up, some are going down. Bitcoin was more like on a rocket. That was just absolutely skyrocketing. But imagine if you got these elevators. Each asset is in a different elevator, including currencies. So the dollar would be in an elevator. And at the moment, the dollar is decreasing, going down slower than all the other assets. So all the other assets are drastically decreasing. So everyone is like, oh, get on the dollar. Everybody jump into the dollar because that's the elevator that's going down the slowest. That sounds all well and good. But if you look at the cables, those cables are starting to fray. And each one is holding on by one last thread. So why would you take that risk? It's the ultimate catch-all. It's the ultimate. Everybody jumps on. Everybody feels safe. Everybody feels that they're winning because the dollar is devaluing slower than everything else. But that cable snaps, and you're going to plummet to your death. And so for this reason, this is the reason. Do I believe that the dollar could continue increasing? Yes, it absolutely could. In fact, it most likely will continue increasing compared to other assets. But that safety, that security, not a chance. I am putting all my bets. I am, again, not financial advice. I don't recommend you doing what I am doing. But I'm putting almost all my eggs in the Bitcoin basket because it's something that you can validate for yourself. You can read through the code. You can play at the game theory. You know exactly what the supply will be in 50 years. In 100 years, in 200 years. You know exactly what the supply will be. You know exactly what your portion of the Bitcoin network, of the Bitcoin asset supply, you will own in 200, in 1,000 years. What you will be passing on to your descendants. You know exactly what portion it will be. Everyone keeps saying, I heard one of my friends say, oh, but Bitcoin is heavily manipulated. That's possibly true. If you look at the volatility, that is absolutely true. There is, which I'll talk about in another video, there is the adoption curve, and then there is the tradition, the trading curve, right? So the trading causes it to do this, but the adoption is doing that, and will always continue doing that. So, or that, I should say. I should, go in the opposite direction. So, what's my point? My point is that I'm placing all my bets on Bitcoin. We know exactly what the supply is going to be. Oh, that was my point. One of my friends was saying, but Bitcoin is heavily manipulated. Now, that very well be true. Well, very well what may be true. And we might see short-term spikes in the Bitcoin price. In fact, we have. But look at the manipulation of the dollar. It's out in public. They print at free will. Do you get to choose how much they print? Do you get to choose when they retract? When they're contracted, do you get to choose what the interest rate is going to be? No, we get absolutely no say in this at all. Nothing. Like not. There's six individuals. There's six individuals who cast a vote, and they claim themselves to be decentralized. I'm going to do another video where I'll go into the Federal Reserve Bank website and show you some of the clownery that goes on there. And we're of 8-point-something billion. I think we just crossed the 8 billion mark in terms of human population. All depend on these six individuals. The pain that we're experiencing in the market is because of these six individuals, not because of Russia, not because of coronavirus. Yes, they contributed, and the Federal Reserve Bank had to react accordingly, but they get to choose. And it's in their interest, not your interest. So why are we okay with this? And this is why I'm opting in for Bitcoin. You know what it's going to be in 200 years time from now. There's nothing more stable. Those cable ties on the Bitcoin elevator are so they are made of carbon nanotubes, the strongest material known to man so far. Whereas the dollar elevator is currently hanging on by cotton threads, by a single cotton thread. So that's where I'm currently standing at the moment. And so another thing, just to add quickly to that, is again, you have to be looking into the future. If you're only looking in the next 2, 3, 4 months, you're going to fail miserably. So as long as you have your preparation for the short term, so in other words, you have your safety net, your financial safety net, to get you through the next 2 years, because you never know what's going to happen in the next 2 years. But you always have to rather look at the long term. What is the economy going to look like? What are these elevators going to be doing? You have to be guessing what the elevators are going to be doing in 5, 10, 15, 20 years time from now. So I'm placing the bets that Bitcoin is going to be worth far more than what it is today. It's going to be the most stable. More people are going to be waking up to it. More people are going to start doing their research. Again, even if you're not a believer, there's going to be businesses that are going to be opening up services regarding it, and people will start being forced to transact in it, not because a government is forcing them to do it, but because look at what's happening in Zimbabwe or Venezuela or Turkey. The currency plummets. I think it was a Turkey who just experienced 70% inflation. I mean, just think about that number for a second. 70, what you had a month or a year ago, just like what? Just you cannot even begin to fathom what these people must be going through. So when I say forced, I don't mean somebody's holding a gun to their head, forcing them to buy Bitcoin. I'm saying that when they wake up to the realization that they're sitting on an elevator or in an elevator that is plummeting to its death, you have no choice but to jump into the next safest asset, which is Bitcoin. So that's just going to continue happening. Another theory that we actually need to go into is Brett Johnson's dollar milkshake theory, which is absolutely playing out right now, and how that ends. So I won't talk about it right now, but that is for a future video. There are so many things playing out now at the moment. But again, prepare for the short term, think in the long term, and that's what you got to do. Anyway, so stay tuned for my product release. Let me know what you guys think when it comes out. And I love and miss you guys. It's been a while. I'm so sorry that I've been out of the loop for so long. I've been focusing on this other thing. But anyway, so that is my current financial situation. That is my current investment planning. And I will see you around.